My name is CJ Sanchez. Thank you for convening this hearing. I'm a former public school teacher, and now I have the honor of leading the New York City Youth Journalism Coalition, which is a citywide collective of students, educators, newsrooms, DOE schools, higher education institutions, and nonprofits, all united to expand journalism opportunities for New York City youth. I'm eager to pass the mic to the students beside me, who are missing school to take part in this important civic process. Before I do, I just want to provide some context on the momentum happening beyond these walls and how Introduction 1057 would bolster it. We have right now just a snapshot of the dire state of student journalism in New York City. According to a 2022 survey, only 27% of public high schools have a student paper. Even more alarming is how this access is sharply divided along socioeconomic lines. In the 50 schools with the lowest poverty rates, 72% have a paper. Meanwhile, in the 50 schools with the highest poverty rates, only 6% do. We've been crafting solutions to address this disparity, sparked by a roundtable 2 years ago where students and DOE leadership envisioned the future of journalism in our schools. Now, with the backing of our Day One champions, Chair Rita Joseph, and the Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus, the coalition is launching Journalism for All, a public-private partnership to create and sustain journalism programs in 30 New York City public high schools next fall. Introduction 1057 will allow us to not only measure the ongoing inequity, but also our progress towards addressing it. We've raised $1.2 million in private funding towards this initiative, and we received applications from 55 schools spanning 30 city council districts. Another 60 schools expressed interest, but couldn't commit due to outstanding capacity challenges. Student journalism is clearly in high demand and in need of large-scale support. Today's inequity goes beyond numbers. When access to journalism is limited to certain students, so is the ability to tell their stories and shape their communities. Together, we can ensure that every student has the tools to shape the future of our city, starting with these 5 here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarahi Drame, and I'm a 16-year-old junior at the Young Women's Leadership Academy of the Bronx, represented by Council Member Sanchez. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today. I feel fortunate to go to a school that offers journalism as an elective. Even though I've only been in the class for 2 months, I can already tell the significance it's had and will continue to have on me. During these 2 months, we've dived deep into media bias, our own bias, and how those two often intersect. Through what I've learned, I've been able to sharpen my critical thinking skills and examine whether the information presented to me is fact or opinion. We also have current events presentations every Monday. These presentations range from important documentaries or the latest news that has been happening in our neighborhoods. Last week, I presented one on AI in hiring and how bias can play a role. These presentations are more than presentations. They expose us to issues that matter to us all. They spark conversation and generate ideas. These presentations inspire change and represent the power and impact of journalism. As we analyze and discuss these articles in class, we find ourselves more connected than we think through our shared concerns, perspectives, and ideas. My experience in my journalism class have not only expanded my knowledge on the media, but have also led me to learn more about the issues that I care about and engage in conversations that will leave me with more ideas and interests to pursue. I want us to remember that informed voices can drive change, and if children are the future, then we must invest in our future. Journalism programs are one of the many ways New York City can strengthen and grow the power of the youth. For too long, we've known that there is an equity gap in those whose voices are heard in the city. The data we currently have is out of date and incomplete. Introduction 1057 will change that by requiring the DOE to report on which schools have clubs, courses, and publications. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Natalie Vitterman, and I'm a junior at Hunter College High School in Manhattan, represented by Council Member Julie Menon. Thank you for being here today. For me, being a part of student journalism hasn't been much of a struggle, given that my school newspaper has a century-old program. Every day, I feel blessed to have such an amazing program with a dedicated advisor and a passionate group of students. However, when I was in middle school, the word newspaper was never even mentioned. When I got to my current school, though, I could feel the beating heart of student journalism all around me. From over a dozen publications to a biannual journalism conference, reporting is everywhere. Now, I'm a features editor at my school newspaper, where I've guided students through writing articles showcasing various people in the school community. But it isn't just the newspaper. My school's journalism elective gave me a space to share my thoughts and stay involved with stories about the world around me together with motivated students. The media is taking a central role in everyone's lives, and school journalism programs allow students to take a central role in the media. This introduction is not just another bureaucratic exercise. For students like my middle school peers, it's personal. We didn't know we could end up at a high school without a publication, without a place for our voices. This year, countless students interested in journalism won't have the information they need to find the right school. The DOE reports basketball teams, but not publications. Introduction 1057 will change that by giving 8th graders the data on which high schools currently offer these critical outlets for student voice. Access to journalism education should not be a privilege, it should be a right. Thank you.
My name is Caitlin Sitaram, and I'm currently a senior at Pace High School in the Lower East Side, represented by Christopher Marte. Thank you for joining us here today. Journalism found me by chance through a random elective placement. This fortunate circumstance sparked my passion for student journalism, and I have since served as editor-in-chief of our school newspaper for the past 2 years. Being a student journalist has become a fundamental part of my identity. This program has opened countless doors, including opportunities to serve as a student leader in the Youth Journalism Coalition and intern at the Paley Center for Media. While student journalism certainly enhances resumes, its true value lies in amplifying student voices and addressing crucial issues. In December 2023, 2 former PACE students wrote an article exposing the rotting flooring in the gymnasium shared between PACE and MS 131. Their reporting went beyond just highlighting water damage, drawing attention to air ventilation problems and lost opportunities for student athletes. According to Representative Marte, this article directly led to significant breakthrough: the June 25, 2024 announcement that the PACE MS 131 gym will receive a $750,000 renovation. This outcome demonstrates how journalism empowers students to uncover truth and bring real change to their communities. Now I am here before you as one of those empowered students, and this isn't my first time. In June, we were in this room to support Resolution 372, which calls on the DOE to support a student paper at every high school. In August, we were here again when the council passed the resolution, and we asked Speaker Adams at her press conference what she'll do to make it happen. She said, "We put our money where our mouth is." Now, passing Introduction 1057 is the first step for the council to take towards making this a reality.
Good afternoon. My name is Isabella Mason, and I'm a senior at Midwood High School, represented by Council Member Farrah Lewis. Thank you for hearing our stories today. I grew up within the charter school system, and now attending a public high school that receives so much funding, the disparities between these two schools are night and day. My middle school, located in the middle of Brownsville, was devoid of resources. My high school, with computer cards and digital boards in every classroom, and an abundance of college and career resources readily available. I am so fortunate to have access to both a journalism class and a school newspaper, both of which I am part of. These program options provide me an outlet to explore my passion for advocacy and social justice, and gain invaluable experience for my college and career future. For example, I'm working on an article about my experience working the polls for the 2024 presidential election and how inaccessible politics can be for those whose first language isn't English, the elderly, and the disabled. For schools that don't have access to such programs, students are left at a significant disadvantage, unable to explore a field vital to an active democracy. Throughout journalism's history, we've seen what stories get published and who gets published, with Black and brown writers consistently excluded. This disparity persists today, and we see it in New York City's high school system, where schools in low-income and predominantly minority communities don't receive adequate funding, meaning that crucial programs like journalism are left out of curriculum, not even an option for students. The urgency of expanding journalism programs across all New York City public high schools cannot be understated. This vision of journalism programs at all 500+ New York City public high schools can only come from close partnership with the DOE. The Coalition's Journalism for All initiative was sparked by students meeting with DOE leadership. 2 years later, we are seeing encouraging signals from DOE, particularly the Office of Student Pathways and several superintendent offices who encourage schools in their district to apply for the Journalism for All initiative. We are ready to walk the walk and expect DOE to join us in supporting Introduction 1057, demonstrating not only a commitment to our city's students, but a commitment to the future of our democracy. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Liza Greenberg, and I'm a senior at Bronx Science. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. For me, being a student journalist is central to who I am. I've worked on my school newspaper, The Science Survey, for the past 3 years, this year serving as editor-in-chief. And like Caitlin, I'm confident enough to be here today because of my school newspaper. Approaching students, teachers, and administrators, researching, asking tough questions, and advocating for important causes are the core pillars of scholastic journalism. This is also my 4th trip to City Hall for this issue. I have no doubt when the DOE affirms their commitment to student journalism and that the council has our back. I'm here today because hopefully it's time to take the next step and make moves. The boldest part of Introduction 1057 is the requirement for the DOE to report how much it costs to run a journalism program. Here's why it matters. The 30 Journalism for All schools will pioneer a model that can scale to 500. In 3 years, we'll have a proven, measurable, and replicable model ready for prime time. With the data from Introduction 1057, we'll have the tools we need to work with Chair Joseph, council leadership, the DOE, and private funders to establish a permanent funding solution. We understand the DOE might find this financial requirement ambitious, and as our track record demonstrates, we're prepared to work with them to produce this data and share it with the council. Thanks especially to Micah Peterson and Melissa Sisko, we're already looking forward to sitting down with the DOE shortly on January 8th to make sure that student journalism thrives, not just in 30 schools, but in every school across the city. Thank you.
This is where I get to be biased, right? This was our baby from day one. And look at us now. So this is a proud moment for me. I feel like a parent right now. This is a proud moment where we get to give you your voices, right? To share your stories, to tell the stories that matters to us from your lens, not ours, right? So thank you for bringing this up and for your relentless advocacy. Remind me so much of my younger version, fighting for what you believe in and using your pen to make changes, right? Advocacy, it's important. So each and every one of you, I've already told you from day one, I am your champion, I am your ally, and I am your friend. So we're gonna get this to the finish line, and we do put our money where our mouth is. And I'm a big mouth on when it comes to young people and education. So being involved in your journalism program at your school impacted your educational experience, personal growth. Can you share any specific skills you've gained?
So I'm already passionate about social justice and advocacy, but I really feel like my student newspaper gives me the outlet to explore those options. I would have never had the opportunity to write about my experience working the 2024 presidential election polls, and I guess to give awareness to the communities that don't receive that kind of visibility, like the disabled, the elderly, and those whose first language isn't English. Student journalism in my school newspaper has been an integral part of who I am and my education, and it has inspired me to continue my passion for advocacy in college and in my future career.
Anyone else? She's the spokesperson.
I think for me specifically, being able to work on my school newspaper has taught me that every single issue doesn't just have two sides, but so many more than that. And it's important to explore all of the different perspectives that people have. I'll just give one example, which is I was writing an article on the reinstatement of mid-year exams after they had been postponed due to COVID. And it was my first time meeting the principal. I got to interview the principal, get her take on why these exams were being implemented again. I talked to students who were talking about the stress they were experiencing. I talked to teachers who were figuring out how they were going to adequately prepare their students for these exams. And it kind of shows you the whole ecosystem in a school and all the different stakeholders there are, and how we find solutions and we explore policies that affect multiple different people in many different ways. And now I think I can apply that thinking to the different, problems in my life or things in my life that I encounter.
Any stories you guys covered stood out with you, stuck with you? I know you talked post-2024 elections. Any stories that stuck with you that you wrote?
So I wrote about the impact of yonder pouches on students in the school. And for a lot of people, I was surprised when a lot of people were willing to let go of their phones and willing to let go of, that little box that we always carry with a lot of information and a lot of things like that. So I think that was really important to me because there's always a narrative that we're always addicted to our phones, but a lot of people were like, no, I improved without my phone. I became a better scholar, and I think that always really stuck with me that, we're willing to stop when we want to.
I think that's music to New York City Public Schools' ears. I'm just saying. Thank you all. Thank you for being here.